Hey friends, Mr. Producer here, and I wanted to let you know that registration for the Equip Expo 2022 is officially open. Brian has partnered with Equip to help save you 50%. That's right, not 10%, but 50% off registration. Now, if you want to support Brian and all of the amazing, helpful content that he puts out, this is a great way to do it. We'll be sharing more details as they come down the pike, but we can't wait to see you at the biggest green industry trade show of the year right there in Louisville, Kentucky, October the 19th through the 21st. Don't forget to register today with the link that's in the show notes and use the promo code BRIAN. That's BRIAN.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no-nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, happy hump day to all of you guys. It is beautiful Wednesday morning here, and we are halfway through the work week. So hopefully your guys' lawns are, on schedule. You guys are getting your lawns in, getting the lawns mowed. If you guys are doing some landscaping jobs, things are going well. Hopefully you're not having to double back to Site One or Home Depot or maybe your yard or your shop to get anything extra you might have left or forgot. That's definitely those little death by 1,000 paper cuts that we talk about running a successful lawn and landscaping business. But any which way, we're having a pretty decent week so far. Actually, as I record this podcast, Sunday night into Monday, we had like some pretty gnarly storms come through, and the lawns were soaking wet Monday morning. And so the grass in the Midwest here, it's like going into seed, we call it. So all the little sprouts on the top with the seed, and man, that can make a thick lawn even thicker, as you guys can imagine. And so we're double cuts, we're doing some triple cuts. We're just making sure the lawns are looking as good as possible, trying to suppress those lawns and keep them at that good old 3.5 inches for a lot of the lawns that we mow over here in Michigan. But we're off to a decent week, and hopefully again this Saturday, maybe banging out another 15-yard mulch job. Hopefully we're done by noon on that one. It's always funny. You guys, a bunch of you actually said the same thing, which was anytime your boss says, "Hey, we'll be done by noon on Saturday," that's code for 2:30 or 3 o'clock, which is ironic because we moved a 43-yard mulch job at a dealership that we manage and take care of now. It's a new account, big account for us, and it was funny because we got done at about 2:38 in the afternoon on Saturday, which is pretty funny. So any which way, that's what we're doing, Monday through Thursday. We're mowing grass. Friday's been a makeup day. We got a lot of weed pulling and cleanup to do on Friday, and then do a mulch job here Saturday. So we're in the thick of it, just like you guys. Another week or two, hopefully kind of over that spring rush. Rob and I, we went to breakfast this morning, and we're both just kind of like looking down at our phones, and we're both like, dude, we're tired. We are tired. We are exhausted. But at the end of the day, it's just one foot in front of the other through spring. Here's what I wanted to talk about for just a couple quick seconds here. Just two simple topics today. I don't have a huge lengthy, kind of a topic here with a rant or anything specifically. Things are good. No complaints behind the scenes. We're just, like I said, just kind of mulling through the work and trying to get as much done as possible. But I did want to talk about one or two things that have been on my mind lately. One is talking about waste in our business and talking about areas where we can make sure that we're charging appropriately to make money and to basically cover as much cost as possible, make as much money as possible. I want to talk about that for a quick second. And then also another question, and I'm not an economist here, but are we in a recession? Are we, kind of turning the curve of a 07, 08, 09 situation? I remember getting my business started in 06 and 07. I was the $20 guy. I was mowing grass. Gas was $2 a gallon, $2.25 a gallon, whatever it was. And shortly thereafter, in 08, different administration came into play. The economy was getting very, very wild. The stock market crashed. The TARP bailouts started coming out. The financial sector crashed. The real estate sector crashed. And for any of you guys that are maybe 35 and older, maybe even a little bit younger, maybe 30, 31, 32, you might remember like 07, 08, 09, something happened, right? And it's kind of wild. We kind of have that amnesia that it won't happen again, or quite honestly, you just kind of forget about things. But history repeats itself every 10 or 12 years. So I just have some interesting ideas, some things I wanted to propose and maybe just talk about for a quick minute, what I'm kind of doing behind the scenes to hedge a little bit, and maybe just share some helpful insights insight for you guys that are running a business and maybe have never navigated these choppy waters before. So that's what we're going to do here for a quick second. By the way, as we talk about that topic, we're going to hear from today's show sponsors and announcements really quick here, but I wanted to mention that two things. One, book your calendar or mark your calendar or earmark your calendar, I should say, for November 12th, Saturday. That's going to be Launchpreneur Academy Live. Tickets are going to be going on sale in just a handful of weeks here. So I just want to put a little birdie in your ear so you guys can hear about that and know that it's going to be November 12th, Saturday. And then number two, thank you to so many of you guys that have been registering for Equip Expo down in Louisville, Kentucky, and using the promo code Brian to save 50% on your registration. We had dozens and dozens of you guys register. I get to talk with Expo, and quite honestly, they're so excited about seeing you guys there. The registrations are already up. Things are looking good. The exhibitor, what would you call it, registrations for those folks, people that are participating at a show, the Toros, the X-Marks, the Wrights, the Steels, the Husqvarnas, their registrations and their attendance is up as well. So all healthy signs. The show is trending up. By the way, I'm getting a lot of questions about Equip. I will do a whole 20, 30-minute kind of debrief and get you guys to lay the land here in another week or two. I have a lot of people asking hotels and events and this and that's and what are we doing Thursday? What are we doing Friday? So I can give you the rough kind of overview, and then as we continue to move closer to Equip and Expo, we can get you guys the more nitty-gritty, you know, that the calendars kind of solidify, the events kind of shake out, and we kind of see where's what and who's going where and all that kind of fun stuff. So hang tight on all like the last minute details, but I'll get you the macro picture here on a future episode in just another couple of days. So again, really quick, Equip Expo is the GIE Plus Expo rebranded, which is an interesting change on the name. I don't hate it. I don't like it. But at the same point, nobody asked me. So for any of you guys that want to register to go to Equip Expo down in Louisville, Kentucky, October 18th to the 21st, get your tickets. Register now. It's like $10, 50% off early bird pricing. So, all right. Well, really quick, we're going to hear from today's show sponsors announcements, and I'm going to help you guys make some more money in your business, and then also maybe some ways to hedge against maybe some impending doom, not to be the doom and gloom guy, that might be right around the corner. So let's hang tight and we'll come right on back.
Summer showers, dust that chokes, acres that just won't end. Exmark knows the job of a landscape professional isn't an easy one. That's why we've crafted a legendary line of mowers built to overcome any obstacle. So you're ready to close the deal and finish the job, like you always do. Cut from the same red metal as your Exmark mower, you aren't just good at this. You were built for this.
All right, guys. Well, as we jump right back into it, it's been a wild couple of days, wild couple of weeks over here at Mowing Grass in Wixom, Michigan, which is, by the way, where our business is actually located. We do a bunch of clients in the Novi area, the Wixom area. Most of our commercial stuff is actually in Novi, and then a handful over there in Wixom as well. So, by the way, shout out to any of you guys that ever send us work. We had one or two of you guys send us some snow clients last year that we got locked down for some new commercial snow. Absolutely appreciate that. So if you guys know the area, and there's quite a handful of you guys that are local, if you have anything, Grand River to, anywhere like maybe 14 Mile, anywhere from Haggerty over to Wixom Road, maybe even New Hudson area, holla at your boy, okay? So we're always growing the business, always thinking snow. In fact, we sold some snow contracts the other day. I'm like, bro, it's May, but somebody's already lining their ship up to make sure that they can tackle the snow bids when they come in. Actually, ironically enough, another side tangent. I was doing a dethatching and aeration for a customer just the other day. New customer, new signed up, and he goes, "You guys do snow?" And I said, "Yes, sir, we do snow. We're full service." He goes, "Make sure you send me an invoice right now for snow as well." I said, "Well, I haven't really figured out the rates just yet for snow." He goes, "Whatever it is, just send it to me. I'm a snowbird. I'm out of here, in November or December, whatever it was." So he's like, "Make sure you get me a snow contract and an invoice." And I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, it's like literally May 7th, and this guy's having this conversation with me. However, I should probably be smart and wise and go jump on that, $500, $600, $700. Amen. So it's just wild. People are already thinking snow in May, but usually August is like the early bird gets the worm. But man, some of you guys are already out there tackling snow contracts in May. Hey, it is what it is. Here's what I wanted to talk about for just a couple quick minutes here. And this was actually the preface of this was a question that I got on Facebook, and then I had one or two people ask on Instagram, and they asked me about my skincare routine, and they wanted to know how all the influencers do it. I'm just having fun there. It's like, "Hey girl, where did you get that outfit? Where did you get that skirt?" My wife is actually in the kitchen right now. She's like shaking her head. "But where did you get your makeup, your skincare and your makeup? Oh my God, like check out my blog." So I'm just having some fun there. But the question I was asked though was, do we charge for double cuts, and are we charging for like mowing tall grass? Basically, it's May, I don't know, 17th or whatever day it is. I don't even know what day it is right now. It is May 17th. Wow, that's like the first time I ever got the date right real time. But a lot of folks are calling, as you guys would imagine, and at least in the Midwest and over here in Michigan, the season's been kind of out and about for about 3, maybe 4 weeks now for mowable, grass. And so I'm telling you, I wish I could just screen record these and I send them to Liz because I'm just like, dude, this is insane. I've never seen calls like this. I'm literally getting 20, 30 calls a day. Like you see the red on the iPhone is like missed call and the black is a call out. I'm not even kidding. By 3, 4, 5 o'clock every day, it's 20, 30 calls and 5 or 6 voicemails. And I'm like, it's just a consolidation. There's just not as many people that are mowing grass. So many people are just moving on to landscaping, hardscaping, which I totally get. The guys that are mowing or have the capacity to mow, they're at capacity. They can't take on anybody else. I had 2 or 3 voicemails earlier. Hey, our guy's no longer showing up. He's out of business. And then I had another guy, same thing. It was a larger commercial complex. I actually told him no last year. And he's like, we'll pay whatever. And I'm like, nope, it's not. It's just too big of a site for me and Rob to tackle. But I said, holler at your boy for the snow, though. But here's the point. It's 3-4 weeks into the season, and here's just a quick tip. Like, there's in our businesses, there's always areas where we can shore up things, become more profitable, and make more money. It's just kind of common sense, right? So all day long when we're on the mowers, I don't know about you guys, but I just think about my business. Yes, I have my headphones on and I'm listening to Paul Jameson or the Caleb Allmans and another great podcast, the Bigger Pockets podcast, and a bunch of other great folks. I'm listening to my boy Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, and Tom Wheelwright, and so many other great podcasts that I listen to. Andy Frisella and here in Sal Frisella and those guys on Instagram and whatnot. But at the same point, I'm thinking all the time actively, like, where can I shore things up? Where can I make more money? Where are we spending more time that we're not making money on, we're not recouping on? And so that goes full circle to the Facebook question. Are we charging for double cuts? Are we charging for people who haven't had their grass mowed yet this season? And I know this is kind of a simple one, but it's some low-hanging fruit, and not every podcast has to be groundbreaking. That's something that, if you guys are just listening to the show, we talk about Lawns Lessons Life, and not every podcast needs to be like this groundbreaking, amazing thought that nobody's ever heard before that is just the silver bullet that's going to change your business. Quite honestly, it's probably the exact opposite. It's the mundane, the simple, the overlooked tactics and strategies that are going to be able to equip you to be more profitable. Is that fair? So everybody's always like, we talk endless hours on podcasts, but at the end of the day, it's the simple stuff that's going to get you to the finish line, right? It's the blocking and tackling, I like to call it. So one thing I just wanted to pass a word of encouragement on was this year, we are charging for any customer that's signing up. We're charging double and triple first-time cut fees. We're charging mowing tall grass fees. And this spring, because of the fuel prices, we are adding a surcharge to any lawns that are extremely freaking lush for $10. So let me just kind of break this down into 3 categories. And again, this isn't groundbreaking stuff, but it's something where make sure you guys are charging for this. Make sure you guys are letting the customer know and educating the customer and making sure that you're, fraud, waste, and abuse, right? Like all these different things that are just wasteful spending, like in the government, for example. Well, this is maybe waste or abuse in your business where there's some dollars that we're leaving on the table. And I know some people, myself included, the first 10, 15 years, I was like, look, dude, we'll double cut the lawn. It's just the way of the business. It's just the way of spring. It is what it is. And that's true. And there is some merit to that. However, we're talking also in context. We're 3 weeks into the season. A lot of people are calling. We're signing people up left and right, and they haven't had their lawn cut yet. And whether look, I'm going to be honest with you, about 30 to 40% of those folks are kind of cheaping out, and they're like, you know what, this is getting a little ridiculous. My HOA is going to call me, or the city's going to call me. I need to get this knocked down. Right. So there's always, maybe you guys are like kind of, fist bumping the air right now, like shadow bumping, like, yeah. Like, dude, at least you call a spade, right? And that's fine. We get it. Well, I understand those people. However, let's say they have a $40 weekly cut or a $50 weekly cut. It's been going on for 3 weeks that nobody's mowed. And then they're going to sign up and we're going to go spend, 2 to 2.5x time on the property to get it back in the shape, double cuts and triple cuts, maybe raking and bagging up a little bit of grass or doing whatever we need to do. and we're going to be charging that original $40 or $50 for like that 1 week mow? I don't think so. And here's my conversation. Here's the point. I don't think, and this is just me talking out loud. You guys can, run your own business the way you guys want to, but I'm just talking out loud for my business. With what we're paying our guys these days, what fuel's costing these days, just time and cost, materials, and what all of our overhead is these days, we can't afford that. We can't afford to just say, hey, no problem, we'll take you on. And yeah, the lawn's a little sloppy, but we'll get it back in the shape. And that customer's like, yeah, dude, I got $120 worth of work for $40. I don't think so. That's not happening this year. So what we are doing is when somebody signs up and they're a one-time, $40 cut, for example, and the lawn is more than a week's growth, we're doing a double charge fee. So I used to do a $10 or a $20 or a $25 mow tall grass fee, but now we're 100% doing a double cut charge fee. And I know that sounds kind of no-brainer to some of you guys. Maybe you guys already do that. If you're a newer company in the your first year, second, third year in business, absolutely reserve the right to charge your customers another $10, $20, $50 for mowing tall grass. Look, I'll tell you what, we used to give away the farm the first 10, 12 years in business, right or wrong. Right? It is what it is. And some of you guys are like, well, I don't know, like if we should be charging people another 10, 20, 30, $50 to mow the grass. I'm just telling you what, with what most of us are paying our guys and what gas is right now at the pump. I filled up earlier today. It was $4.79 for like regular 87 and $5.29 for premium. I was like, you've got to be kidding me, bro. So here's what I'm trying to say. A lot of us have, these Kawasaki engines out there. They suck fuel down. Look, back in the day when gas was $2 a gallon, it's okay if you wanted to go double charge or double cut a lawn and you were paying your guys $12, $15. Today, we're all paying our guys $15, $18, $20, $25 an hour, $27 an hour to freaking mow grass. You got to be kidding me, dude. I would have cut you 5 years ago to go make $25 an hour mowing lawns. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, by the way, everybody keeps like fighting for 15 or something like that. Like I keep hearing this thing kind of pop up every 4 years, kind of interestingly enough. It's one of those things where, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's go fight for 15. I'm all about fighting for 15. Let's get you all back to 15 because this is absolutely ridiculous. I got 17, 18, 19-year-old kids asking for $24 an hour to go, run a weed whip. Absolutely ridiculous. How's your work experience? I don't have any. You have a license? No, but my mom can get me there. Why can your mom get you there? Well, I don't have a car. Why is that? Oh, because I got a DUI. Oh, fantastic. Like, is that the labor pool we're pulling from? Because there ain't nobody left. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. So here's my point. For all of you guys that are just signing up new customers, just last week, for example, we signed up 3, 4, maybe 5 new customers, and all of them, I told them straight up. I said, hey, we're going to be out there to mow your lawn. It's $40 for a weekly cut, trim, blow, biweekly edge, card on file, whether it's voicemail or via text message. That's just how we do it. Everybody's like, oh my God, thank God you're the only person calling us back and all that other mess, which seems to be the narrative out there. A lot of you guys can probably relate. But what I did tell them is that, hey, we do it's going to be a double charge cut for the first mow. It's going to be a $50, minimum for the first mow, depending on the property. And if I know where the property is, I already know, like, hey, it's in the subdivision. Okay, I know the lawns are probably yay size. It's going to just be a double charge fee. So here's the deal. Back in the day, I used to charge not even. We didn't even charge. It was like $40. It's scraggly, whatever. We'll spend 30 minutes. We'll make it look nice, all that mess. Nowadays, and we've been charging for edging for about 5 years now. If it's 2, 3, 4 inches overgrown, absolutely a $50, $75, $100 fee. You have to. That's maybe just something I'm trying to implore some of the new guys that are like, wait a minute, you charge for edging to get the curb line back and to get the sidewalk and the driveway lines back on your properties, whether subdivisions or more rural? Yeah, absolutely, because you're going to be grinding out that edge for 10, 20, 30 minutes, an hour sometimes. Sometimes you're scooping and shoveling, a bag or two of sod and grass on it in the Home Depot recycle bags. But here's the deal. Just perspective. And this is maybe just some low-hanging fruit. I know it's not a silver bullet. I know it's not like, wow, you're telling me like some grand idea or design here. Listen, I get it. But at the same point, you can't be giving away the farm with gas prices the way they are and with our labor rates the way they are. So if you guys are doing edging, charge for it. We used to never charge for it. Then it was $20 or $25 for a one-time fee. Now, all day long, $50 to $75 or more. If it's really gnarly, $100. By the way, people are willing to pay it. Number 2, if you pull up to a customer's house, not to beat a dead horse, and it's been 2 or 3 weeks of growth, by the way, like some people like kind of just run the system like that. Like, hey, it's $50 a week, but if I wait till 3 weeks in, hey, like I'll pay a $20 to $25 fee. to them, they're still ahead $75 from signing up a service at the beginning. And I want to give customers the benefit of a doubt, but let's just be honest with you. I'd say 30 to 50% of your customers are just calling because they're able to kind of sneak in the third week. I had a couple customers too. They didn't renew, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, like we haven't seen you just yet." And I'm like, "Listen, bro, Nick. Listen, bro. I called you twice. I left a voicemail both times, and I emailed you. Didn't hear anything back. Oh, well, that's weird. Like, yeah, my emails haven't been emailing." And I'm like, "What?" It almost went to spam. I'm like, "Really? That's interesting," because like that they don't. But any which way. But then you know what? They're like, "Well, make sure you add us to the route." I'm like, "No problem. It's going to be a $50 fee to get your lawn back in the shape." Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's cool. Because like they're not going to wiggle out of the 2 free cuts that they're going to get out of that $40 charge. Amen. So any which way, that was just one thing I wanted to talk about for a quick minute. I'm thinking like all the time out there. It's not the 2x4 across the head. I've talked about this on podcasts before that take you out in business. Now, there are, like if you buy something or do something dumb or, leverage something and you're like just not ready, that can instantly tank you. Yes. Like, or torpedo is going to, take down the ship. However, if you forget to put the plug back in, eventually your boat will sink. And that's just how it works. So it's sometimes the little stuff too. And I'm just thinking out loud, this is just me literally running my lawn and landscaping business day to day. We're out and about mowing grass. I'm getting a bunch of people to sign up, and I'm just looking at all these tall, thick, lush lawns. We've been getting some decent rain and some decent kind of cold weather. And then out of nowhere, all last week, it was 85 to 90 degrees. And then we have to, the lawns just shoot up like crazy, even crazier than the cool season is when the grass turns 90 degrees and they got some rain. Boom, they just grow like a weed. It's like listening to the corn grow. You know what I mean? But it's simple, but charge for it. And by the way, we had a commercial sign up as well. The first time, I'll tell you this. Rob and I mowed it the second time, and it took us an hour and a half. So 2 guys, an hour and a half, 3 labor hours. Let me ask you a question. Just polling the audience. Can't really hear you, but yell into the radio anyway. Maybe not some backyard. 4. The customer's like, "What the hell?" They're drinking their iced tea. What do you think it took us the first time? Now, it had been 2 weeks into the mow season, so these people, this commercial client didn't lock down a mow company. They found us, thankfully, and we were able to tackle it. But we're talking 2 weeks into the season, maybe 3, but I think 2 weeks into the season, it was me, Mark, and Rob. Guess how long we were there? 2 hours. So 3 guys times 2 hours, 6 labor hours. It was $225 for a weekly mow. It's 2 acres. $100 an acre is kind of where I'm at, 100, 110. I didn't need it, so I was like, you know what, $225, whatever, And it should take us about an hour, hour and a half. Well, here's the deal. The first time it took us 6 labor hours. The second time it took us 3 labor hours, and we should get it down to about 2.5 labor hours. It should take us about an hour, hour and 15 minutes to do this property. But again, we're still double cutting a little bit here and there. However, $225 weekly cut. The first cut, $100 extra charge. Period, case closed. Well, Brian, are you going to disclose that to the customer, or is that into your contract, or da-da-da-da-da-da? Yes and no, right? So at the end of the day, make sure you guys are educating your customers like on the front end. But quite honestly, if they had any pushback, I do not care at this point, because it took us 6 labor hours and, well, Brian, you agreed to the terms and da-da-da-da. Yeah, I get it. Real life. I'm going to charge them an extra $100 for the first cut. And if they don't like it, they can drop me and we'll just, say la vie. All right, life goes on. Good luck finding a mow guy at this point, because it'll be June 1st by the time they see that invoice, and there ain't nobody taking them on. So, excuse me. Any which way, here's my point. Cough into the mic. Didn't hit the mute button, but hey, I'm trying to take some notes here from the Kid Contractor podcast, right? Just having fun there. So, but charge is the long story short is what I want to say. Make sure you guys are charging. It's the low hanging fruit. It's the $40 here, the $25 here, the $50 there, the $50 there. And by the way, it does add up. I mean, it only takes you 2x on the time to mow that property, or 1.5x, because we've got these beefy mowers. But again, the customer to go out there, it's going to take them 4 hours on a Saturday. They don't want to do it. Takes me, 30 minutes to knock down on a property that would normally take 20 minutes. And I'm going to charge for that. And I'm going to make that money. I'm going to make that premium. I did a podcast a week and a half ago, Friday, talking about that. Their problem is not my problem, but if you want it to be my problem, then it's going to cost you a premium, and we'll take care of it. So any which way, not to beat a dead horse, but hopefully that helps you guys out. Any of these little extra fees that you can start tackling on and start recouping your extra labor or gas, I think it's a must in 2022. $4.79 a gallon. It's like when you see $60 and $80 on the pump, And you're like, yeah, that's not too bad to fill up the truck. And then you're like, no, just kidding. That was actually just for 2 0 turns and like 4 gallon of premix. You know what I mean? The 50-to-1 stuff. It's just, dude, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. All right. One other thing I just want to talk about for just like 2 minutes here. I don't have a huge point on this one other than, you know, I listen to a lot of other podcasts and you just kind of get the lay of the land. I need to get my boy Mike Bedell on. He's a macroeconomics kind of a guy. He's my investor. He's my go-to. I always pick his brain. But you know what? A lot of you guys listening in, here's just an encouraging word is, man, are we in a recession already? Are they actually telling the truth? I mean, not to go on a whole rant here because we could talk 100 different angles for 100 different rabbit holes for 100 different, hours, but we're seeing negative, recession or negative economic growth, GDP growth. We're seeing consumer price index go through the roof. We're seeing inflation at 8.2% instead of 8.5, like they did something well. Gas went down, so the consumer price index went down. Or inflation went down, I should say. But then when gas goes back up here in a couple of weeks because they, released those 50 million barrels of oil or whatever the administration did, gas went down, but everything else went up. But when everything stays up and then gas goes back up, you're going to see it go up to 9.1% because it's just freaking wild. So here's my point is, man, just taking you down memory lane and not to be like the old fart guy here, but I remember, I guess my business started in 06, 07. That's why it's Brian's All Maintenance 2007 at gmail.com. That's when I kind of started my business and got my own email. I remember like trying to mow grass for $4 and $4.20 a gallon of gas. And I was mowing lawns for $22. Man, like I guarantee you I was paying to mow grass in 06, 07, 08, whatever it was. Maybe even 09. I had a $2 surcharge. I was at least wise enough and smart enough to know my second or third year in business. I'm like, hey man, fuel's going up. I've heard of people charging fuel surcharges. Today I just raised my rates. I don't really do a lot with surcharges, but at the end of the day, gas was $4.20 a gallon. I remember distinctly my mom calling me like, so and so just happened, and this is like the rumor, and gas is going to go up to $4.50 a gallon. And I'm like, oh my god! And like back then, that like literally would have crushed me. I had like $158 in my checking account, kind of a deal. And so I was like, you know what? Let's go fill up on 20 gallons of gas. I filled up all the mowers, the trucks, all the 2-stroke, all the 5 gallons. Man, 30 cents a gallon. Got to save my little pennies. But it was true, and I had to at the time for sure. And I should have, of course, logically. But I'm thinking to myself like, it's 2022. There is a slowdown in the economy. There's an administration that's back in office that's similar to creating conditions and policy that was mirrors and mimics 07, 08, 09. Gas is back at where it was. The financial markets are slowing down or they're all down. We have negative economic growth. The banks are raising interest rate. The Fed's raising interest rate. Everything's going up. Inflation is just runaway right now. And I'm thinking to myself like, when did I see this before? And by the way, for some of you guys that didn't live through 07, 08, 09, it wasn't like the end of the world, but it was really, really rough on a lot of people, including probably your parents, if you didn't live through it through your parents. In Michigan, 1 out of like 5 or 6 homes were literally on the chopping block. By the way, the real estate market, holy crap, everybody, I don't want to wish this on anybody, of course, but I don't know if you guys can relate, man. Everybody in our age group is buying homes. My friends that are 27, 8, 9-ish to 35, 37, they're buying their first little homes, and they are paying $250,000, $275,000 for a home that literally was $180,000 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And not only that, they're buying these $300,000, $350,000, $400,000 homes, and they're putting, their little 3.5% down, which is great. But the home that's $400,000, they're overpaying by 10, 20, 30, $40,000. And I'm thinking to myself, like, where have I seen this before? 07, 08, 09. And then outside of that, I wouldn't really necessarily call them subprime borrowers, although there's a whole push for that again right now, but they're over-leveraged. They're over-leveraged on the home. Now, right now, they're not because the home is worth more than what they paid or about the same. However, if the real estate market takes a crash and the stock market takes a crash, their $400,000 home may or may not be worth what it was, what it should have been, maybe a corrected price at $320,000, $350,000, $375,000. And so they're going to be under their mortgage. So not only is the home worth $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 inflated, but they're also overpaying. Which is wild. Like, I'm not an economist. I'm not Mr. Financial investment guy here. Okay. I don't have any skin in the game. Right. But here's what I will say. It's wild to me what people are doing with homes. Liz and I see it, and we're just like, we're going through some of these neighborhoods, and they're, at least back at home over here in Michigan, in the suburbs and all this other mess, 400, 450,000, 550, starting at the low 700s. Dude, for a 3.2, 2,800 square foot, nothing fancy kind of a home from some of the big national builders that you guys would all know. They all build the homes in all of your subdivisions and stuff as well. And I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, that home 3, 4, 5 years ago was $350,000. What are they smoking? And so 2 takeaways. One, it's just rampant inflation. It's just rampant cost of everything going up. A $40 lawn cut is equivalent to the $25 lawn cut in the 80s, all that kind of mess. But at the same point, I don't know, man. So here's my that's the doom and gloom. Here's the upside. Hold on to your cash is what I would suggest. I know there's a lot of you guys listening in that are big Dave Ramsey folks, and that's fine. I think he's a great start. He's a horrible finish. Whole nother podcast for a whole nother time. But I do think Dave's great for like the general W-2 wage earner, the employee, the engineer, and the nurse, husband and wife, and the nice couple, and they're got the little 2.2 kids and little dog Fido. Okay, and they got Suburbans and student loans, and they're drowning in $300,000 of the debt and student loans, all this mess. Yeah, they need to get their finances figured out. You guys are entrepreneurs. Dave Ramsey is not for entrepreneurs. Dave Ramsey is for employees. Okay, so take everything Dave says, filter it through a brain cell. He is not for entrepreneurs. Okay, that being said, I still think Dave puts out some great advice and some really conservative advice. However, people right now, they're over leveraged in so many ways, shapes, and forms. And not only that, they don't have any cash. People are like, now there's 2 groups out there. There's some people have a lot of cash and they're ready to go, but they're like, stock market's down, real estate's overpriced. What's a good investment? So they're just kind of in limbo, and that's why you're seeing some economic sluggish, not growth, but just the economy is very sluggish and it's very flat, or kind of in a recession. And then you get the other camp that doesn't have any money, and they're going to get wiped out because they spent all their money and their excess on the overpaying of their house, and they're getting killed with weekly food prices, at the grocery store, and gas prices. But here's one thing I just wanted to say. Like, I'm not your financial guru here by any way, shape, or form. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Liz and I are very liquid right now. Like, for example, we just bought a new truck. I was going to pay cash until, I don't know, maybe a month before. And I was talking to my CPA. We did a quarterly review and just had some conversations. He's a wealthy. First off, he's a smart dude. He's an advisor, but he's also an extremely personally wealthy person. So I'm like, Michael, what would you do? This, that, not Michael Bedell that you guys all know. My CPA is named Michael. And I'm like, Michael, what would you suggest here? What would you do? And he said, here's what I would do. You can do whatever you want to do, of course. But I told Liz, I'm like, we should probably keep our cash. By the way, Liz was like, let's keep our cash. There's just something about sitting on tens and tens of thousands of dollars in cash that you can, a couple different things. One, you got options, right? You're not super affected, or what's the best way to say it? You're looking at the opportunity that's going to be in the market as well. Let's say things, quote unquote, go on sale in 07, 08, 09, and they do again here in 2022, 2023. You're able to buy the dip. You're able to buy when the real estate bubble crashes and people lose their homes. Like, unfortunately, it is what it is. Like, their loss is going to be your gain. And I hope to buy 20% down on, 10 different condos, if that's the case, and where I live. I've been scoping them out for a long time, or some single families and all that mess. Like, that's like the next chapter and phase of Liz and I's life. We want to get involved in real estate, just like everybody else, right? But here's what I would just say, like, I don't know, man. The people I'm listening to, I have a lot of, candid conversations with Bedell, and whenever I get a chance to pick his ear, I'm always like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? He's always talking to a lot of successful people, very wealthy individuals and folks, his kind of clientele for his actual lawn care company. And a lot of people are sitting on their cash. So in which way, that's just what I wanted to say really quick was, maybe you guys are big Dave Ramsey people and you're like, hey, don't have any debt and all this other mess. And that's fine and it's cool. I mean, arguably, if you don't have any monthly payments, you don't really care about what happens up or down, right? However, it's okay to use 0, 1, 2, 3, 4% money that you're paying on interest-wise, 2, 3, 4% interest, and save that 5, 10, 20, 50, $75,000. Some of you guys are looking at buying a skid steer. You're like, dude, I got $80,000 cash. I can go put that down, just take care of it. That's fine. That's cool. I would say my suggestion is maybe go put 10, 20 grand down, have a little $700 a month payment, and keep your $50,000 to $75,000 in the bank. Okay, so that's just the only piece of advice, my little warning. That's just what I'm doing. Take it or leave it. Somebody might be screaming, that's horrible advice, and you should do something else. Look, I try to come at life in this podcast with a pretty conservative approach, and that's just what I'm doing. One, to potentially buy opportunities on the flip side, and on the upside, in the next 2 years or a year and a half or whatever happens. Because, man, a lot of people made a lot of money from 2010 to 2014, and those investments and those assets really matured in 18, 19, 20, 21. And if you notice, a lot of people are selling off. A lot of people are selling their companies. A lot of people are selling their real estate portfolios. A lot of people are selling their large, massive apartment complexes, and they're flipping it to the next guy. They're selling high, and then guess what? We all know what's going to happen next. They're going to buy low. Really good example. Robert Kiyosaki told a story about this once. There's some golf course, and somebody wanted it for $300 million for it, and he just laughed. And after 07, 08, 09, he literally scooped it up for 20 or 50 million, whatever the story was, right? So take that for a grain of salt. Let that kind of marinate on your brain. Kind of look around. There's opportunity everywhere around you. But that's just something that I wanted to mention. I know a lot of people are big Dave Ramsey people out there, and I see a lot of thought process being perpetuated, like pay cash for this and all this other mess. And I'm thinking to myself, totally, absolutely, that's great thought process. Additionally, the investor, the 202 kind of business mindset, maybe sit on that cash, maybe put 10, 20% down on whatever you were about to buy. And then when the dip hits, you can buy that, get 5, 10, 20, 30% returns instead of just, paying cash or something and having 2% interest on it or 2.49% interest. You can go make 5, 8, 10, 20, 30% on the investments on the upside 12, 18, 24 months later. Not saying we're there yet, but man, the writing is all over the wall. Amen. So any which way, one thing I'll quickly say is start listening to some economic podcasts and some political podcasts if you guys can. First off, the economic climate is wild. It's very, very, like I said, indicative of 07, 08, 09 conditions. And I'm not a big doom and gloomer. I'm just looking at myself saying, look, dude, I didn't cash in on nothing in 07, 08, 09. There was a condo, a complex right down the street. I do all my work. They were $179,000 in 06, 05, 06, 07. Because I was at Little Caesars making 30, 40, 50 grand a year. And I was like, dude, I'm going to buy a condo. I'm going to be a homeowner at 21. This is going to be awesome. I didn't. I got cold feet. I didn't go through with it. $179,000 for these condos. In 08, 09, they're selling them for $89,000. $89,000. Today, with inflation and the current market conditions and all this blah, 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 it's 10, 15 years later, things are obviously more money. Any guesses what those are going for right now? $219 to $279. What if I bought 2 or 3 of them for 89 grand back in 06, 07, 07, 08, 09? Just absolutely wild. By the way, what if I sold them all right now, took that money, sat on it, threw it all into crypto and NFTs? I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I'm not on that juice or that bandwagon right now. So many of you guys are like, hey man, Ethereum to the moon and Bitcoin and all this mess. I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's cool. I already did all that back in the day. And if you're making money with that, awesome. Just be smart. Save a third of it for your taxes because you're going to pay capital gains on that mess. But outside of that, look around. If I would have, and that's where the hindsight is 2020, right? I'm telling Liz all the time, like, let's not over leverage ourselves. Let's keep some cash in the bank. Over leverage meaning we don't have any cash to work with or play with is what I meant to say. Let's be smart with our money. Let's keep our head on a swivel. We have a lot of conversations with a lot of people. I'm always picking the brains of other people that you guys know out there in the industries. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing with your cash? What are you investing in? What about this? What about that? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And there's some folks I'm talking to, they're like, hey man, stock market's down 3, 5, 10, 30, 20%, whatever it was this last couple of weeks. And, I lost $700,000 and I'm like, oh, that's exciting. That's pretty cool. Not. So I'm always listening and trying to keep my ear to the grind with what everybody else is doing out there as well. But there's your hot stock tip, right? All right. Well, that's what I got for you guys today. Don't leave money on the table. And then number 2, make sure you guys leave money in your pocket so you can go buy investments and cool opportunities later that can create wealth for you and your family long term. So that's what I got for you guys in today's show. A little bit different. This is just stuff that's on my mind, kind of real time. And not every podcast, like I said, is going to probably be groundbreaking for you, but this is just the thoughts that I have right now. And Liz and I we're hustling like we've never have before. We're swimming to catch the surf and catch the wave. And I just want to see so many of you guys win. And I just want to see some of you guys just being safe and protected out there as well. So anything we can ever do to help you guys grow, help you guys win, shed some light on some different things, send us a DM. Send us a DM on Instagram. Send us a message on Facebook. Leave a comment on YouTube. And that's what I got. So really quick, don't forget to register for Equip. It's going to be a really good time down there in Louisville. We got 4 or 5 months. Earmark your calendar for LAL 2022, November 12th. Whole new lineup of folks and speakers. It's going to be incredible. We might have one person returning from years past, but everybody's going to be new. We're going to change it up, get some fresh blood, whole different theme, whole different approach this year. It's going to be really, really cool. Very meat and potatoes kind of conversation, very technical. Last year was a little bit more inspirational. We're going to kind of swing the pendulum to the other side, and we got some great people that are qualified to come on in and share for the technical aspect of growing a successful business. So that's what I got for you guys, man. Short and sweet. Love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are having a great rest of the day, and go check out some great podcasts. Go listen to Andy Frisella. Go get charged up. Go get fired up. Listen to the Great Industry Podcast, Caleb Allman and those guys as well. Other great leaders in the industry, and that's what I got for you guys on today's show. So let's do this really quick. Let's kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, down in the ATL, and we look forward to catching up with you guys here on the next one.
Summer showers, dust that chokes, acres that just won't end. Exmark knows the job of a landscape professional isn't an easy one. That's why we've crafted a legendary line of mowers built to overcome any obstacle. So you're ready to close the deal and finish the job, like you always do. Cut from the same red metal as your Exmark mower, you aren't just good at this. You were built for this.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.